Today we're talking about China. Not the China from official announcements, not the China from beautifully designed slides. The other China, the one where exports are doing great, and everything else is doing yoga. Lots of stretching, very little movement. But according to official statements, everything is fine. The economy is recovering, and China's technology is about to become #1 in the world, very soon. Just not on the calendar. China's economy is supposed to run on 3 engines: exports, investment, consumption. Simple, balanced, very textbook. In 2025, only one engine is still making noise: exports. Exports are still growing, around 5%, according to the World Bank. Factories are busy, ports are crowded, ships keep leaving. So yes, one engine is working, now the other two. Consumption is weak. The KPMG notes retail sales growth hovering around 1 to 2%. That's not shopping enthusiasm, that's people buying food, transport, and whatever is necessary to survive. That's not confidence, that's budgeting. Why? Because in China right now, people are not poor. They're cautious, very cautious. The kind of cautious where you say, "I'll buy it next year, after things are clearer." They see young people struggling to find jobs. They see empty shops. They see neighbors wiped out when property investments went bad. You cannot order people to be confident. Confidence is not a 5-year plan, it's a feeling. And feelings don't survive uncertainty. Investment is worse. Property investment fell 15.9%, according to Reuters. Many developers are struggling. Some collapsed completely. And buyers learned a very important lesson. In this market, apartments can disappear, but mortgages never do. So no, China doesn't really have 3 engines right now. It has one engine pulling the economy forward, and 2 that didn't crash. They just quietly switched to energy-saving mode. Every year, China promises one number: 5% growth. Not 4.9, not almost 5. 5. This number matters because China's leaders, including Xi Jinping, have openly talked about China becoming the world's #1 power. To overtake the United States, you need speed. That's why 5% is not a target, it's a requirement. This year, it's not 5. The World Bank and the International Monetary Fund both project China's 2025 growth at around 4.8%. Very close. Close enough to claim success, not close enough to change reality. In most countries, 4.8% would be amazing. In China, it triggers very careful wording, because when growth becomes a promise, missing it feels less like economics and more like failing the mission. Now, look at the country China wants to overtake. According to the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, the U.S. economy grew at an annualized 3.8% in Q2 2025. No official target, no slogans, no countdown clocks, just growth. So here's the awkward math. China needs 5% just to keep the catch-up story alive. The U.S. grows at 2 to 3%, sometimes nearly 4%, without even trying to catch anyone. When the runner behind needs to sprint, and the runner in front is casually jogging, this stops looking like a race. It starts looking like a treadmill with a very optimistic instruction manual. Running hard, but still stationary. Now the interesting part. The U.S. Congress wants to know one simple thing: where senior Chinese leaders keep their money. Officially, at home. Unofficially, they seem very comfortable with Western financial systems they publicly criticize on a weekly basis. This isn't about raids or confiscation. It's about reports. And reports are dangerous, because reports don't accuse, they hint. Accusations can be denied. Hints just sit there, quietly, making powerful people uncomfortable. Now add one more detail. Trump keeps saying she is his friend, a very good friend. So will Trump expose his friend's secrets? Of course not. Friends don't do that. Friends negotiate. And when she doesn't want certain things discussed publicly, he suddenly becomes very cooperative. Trade deals, market access, big promises. Which brings us to Busan. Trump and Xi meet. And suddenly, China agrees to buy 12 million tons of US soybeans this year, and 25 million tons every year after that. Not because the beans are cheaper, they weren't. So here's the quiet joke. Trump says Xi is his friend. China says it's buying more beans. Maybe it's trade, maybe it's diplomacy, or maybe Trump just smiled and said, "Relax, we're friends." China is not collapsing. It's also not rebounding. It's managing. And management works until people start asking one dangerous question. Is this as good as it gets? That's usually when governments stop talking about growth and start talking about loyalty. China already knows how to do this. It holds solemn ceremonies to remember historical suffering, carefully chosen suffering, safely distant suffering. Of course, there are other chapters in history: the Cultural Revolution, the Great Leap Forward. Tens of millions died, but those don't usually get memorials, because remembering victims of foreign powers builds unity. Remembering victims of your own policies builds questions. And nothing worries a system more than questions, especially when the economy stops providing easy answers.
Thank you for watching Pastcast, where the past echoes through today. If you enjoyed the satire, scrolls, and scandals, like, subscribe, and ring the bell before the next empire falls.